All right, welcome back to the Focus Podcast, and we got my friend Jordana Talsky here. How's it going, Jordana?
Good. I'm in the pod zone. This is
we're
cool.
here.
This is very cool. Just looking around, getting acquainted.
The pod sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, this is
Woo,
my little
can't look
shindig.
too hard in those lights.
Yeah, don't stare at them. Yeah, it's get out of the light.
I'll just stare at
thanks
this
for coming. We got our coffees.
Thank you for
set up.
those. You did a nice job on the coffee with the small French press.
Strong. Yeah, it's still going strong, that French press. I have it's the rubber ring in it, like to seal it.
Okay.
So when you seal it, there's a rubber ring in it, and so it deteriorates over time, right?
Yeah.
So there's the camera blinking there. So when it deteriorates, it kind of just the pressure's not as good, so you lose a lot of that. I think not 100% of the coffee comes out or the water. So
whatever. It's
after
still good.
time.
I'm still too lazy to have. So are we on the podcast?
Yeah, we're potted.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're
We're potted.
I still use a percolator, even though like everyone around me uses a French press, and the coffee is better. I agree, but I'm still too lazy to do the extra step, which essentially is not an extra step.
Yeah.
I think the only extra step is to like compact it.
Yeah.
And set it.
Depends how
It's too much in the morning,
Yeah, it
I want
depends
minimal
how
effort.
enthusiastic you are, right, about making coffee.
I'll have the beans, I'll grind them, then
Yeah.
I'll put them in this percolator.
Well, that's more than most people do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
trying.
What's the crazy? Do you get any like crazy coffee contraptions? Do you own or have or?
No, but I lived with someone who liked the French press, and I was introduced to it through through them. And no, I would say just your normal percolating coffee.
Yeah.
I want to try to drink more tea because I know that's better for me vocally and health-wise. For some reason, I just don't do it. But I did get a big bag of cinnamon sticks at some like little grocer, and I thought I'm gonna get this bag of cinnamon sticks, and maybe that will help me maybe that will inspire me to make tea more. Hasn't happened yet, but
can I recommend a drink? Maybe if you've already heard it before, but it's imperative that you have cinnamon sticks with it. It's a great remedy too. So hot water, turmeric, honey. It's got to be good honey. It can't be that like fructose. Shit.
Right.
Lemon. Usually just like a half a lemon. If you want to put ginger in it, maybe, possibly. And what am I missing? Yeah, the cinnamon stick.
I think, so I need the turmeric and the ginger, which I know are like good staples and remedies. But the thing about it is the assembly.
Well, you don't have to put the turmeric in. It's really more about the honey, the lemon, and the cinnamon stick.
Yeah. But maybe I should just get that ginger.
Yeah.
I know. I see I do the scrolling and all the home remedies and try this. And I think, I should have a little tonic in the morning or whatever. But do I do it?
Well, to me, I don't know. I had somebody tell me this before. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm not good at, maybe I'm better at it now, but like preventing things before they happen. But when something happens, like you get sick, I'm not, health-wise, I'm not preparing myself to be healthy enough. And then when I do get sick, it's just like I'm totally shut down. But now more so I can feel things coming on, and I'll force myself to kind of have one of these drinks.
Right.
And it's like it might knock it out before it builds into a big cold.
Well, interesting you say that.
Like that.
I agree. I also can sometimes intercept and take some steps. Although, you know what it else might be, me English good, is the power of the mind. Like,
yeah, true.
I do believe that, and so I wish I could harness it a little in other areas of life. But sometimes you feel like getting sick, and as a singer, I'm like, oh crap, and I've got this gig coming up, I have to clamp down at it. I will when I detect that, I'll go home, I'll gargle with salt water, I will plug a bunch of vitamins, I'll drink tea, soup, whatever. I'll really try to, and then also like limit interactions. I can get kind of, not intense, but I can do that.
Well, you have
and then I think
remedy.
My mind does something. So maybe it's even overemphasizing if you actually are sick, like, okay.
Yeah.
A few days ago, I took my dad to Costco, and I swear it was, first of all, it was an absolute zoo. I don't want to do that again.
There. I refuse to go to those places.
Yeah, well, I didn't have a choice. I was helping out my dad. But then I swear this kid was walking by, and it was so crammed, like so many people. I swear he coughed directly on me. And I was like, and yet, like, you breathed in right when he was coughing. I was like, oh no. And so then I like went home, like, okay, I'm just in case, gonna do all these things. And, anyways.
Well, I was gonna say that too, because I was gonna say maybe you've been through that before, because it's like maybe you powered through, and then the next day you're like, fuck, like your voice is fucked, and so you know the prevention now, like you know what's at stake, because if you push yourself through it, you're not gonna.
Sometimes you can't help avoiding.
Well, you have no
sick.
time sometimes. Sometimes you're just busy, and it just catches up with you, right?
Right, and if you're run down, I guess the older you get, the more you really have to take care of yourself, because your immune system naturally won't be as strong.
Well, I think that's why I'm more cognitive of like prevention. Yeah. Because it's like, oh fuck, this is gonna derail me for quite a while. Right.
These tonics you mentioned, I think there really is something to it. I actually did get these, one of those juiceries.
I was just gonna say, because those are flying off the shelves. Yeah. And they're like $5 a little vial.
I know, but they're for people like me who's like, I'm too lazy to do that myself. I got a little 4-pack, and I have been just like going at it. But I should just get over the hump and learn how to deal with turmeric and ginger, and then I'm sure it'll enhance my all of my health and wellness.
It's funny because my sister was really into a lot of this stuff, and now she is. And
I remember you've been telling.
But like 15 years ago, she was into this mindset too. But it was just more of like, her witchcraft shit and all that. And it's like now everybody's just into it. So before you think of those little tonics, somebody maybe 10 years ago carrying around a bunch of those little vials of, this is for your immune system, this is for a boost, and this is like, there's only a slim category of people that would probably carry a few of those around it. But now it's
elixirs.
Like, exactly, but that's a good title.
They're sorcerers.
Yeah, they're like sorcerers.
They call them elixirs.
Yeah, so it's like now it's everybody on the go is grabbing them, and it's just normal.
Well, that's good. I like that's becoming more mainstream. Yeah. There is this, I want to get this, I guess it's a piece of artwork, but it's a map. It's this giant map, and it is like a guidebook that has kind of ailments and healing, holistic on one side and then Western med on the other side, and you can kind of follow have you seen it? You can kind of follow the chain. It's like this giant map. Yeah. If you want to know what they say the cure is for whatever, whether it's like asthma or bladder problems or like cancer, this or that, what they say if you want to go traditional route or other. I think that's just a handy thing, because that kind of knowledge has really been like healing knowledge, for wellness everyday has been lost. Too. For everyday things, even headaches, and serious things.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking on the same lines, but it was another type of chart like that, and it was basically all home remedies with natural stuff that could replace it or whatever, medicines that say for aspirin or headache, and it's like, oh, take this. Yeah. Grind this up. And it was not only that, like it was a list of that for medicines, and it was a list for cleaning stuff. Yeah. Too. That's right. And I switched the gear with my cleaning stuff too. And all this time, like baking soda and vinegar is great, but the one thing I realized is that you need a slice of lemon. That really gets like you're using a scrub brush with it.
I've seen that. The Instagram tells me. And then you have the
smell of like, fresh lemon, and so that works. That's good. A lot good too. One thing changed for me is like, this camera's, sorry, it's being wacko. I don't know why it's just kind of shutting off. So the first thing that did it for me was I had like regular brand deodorant, and it was, Old Spice, whatever shit you buy off the shelf, cheap stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And I got these rashes, and I was like, what the hell is this? And then I think it was like heavy into my, I don't want to say the word conspiracy, but I was looking in every avenue I was questioning a lot of stuff, and especially mainstream stuff. So I delved into the one ingredient is called I'm totally off on this. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like in everything. It's in pretty much like toothpaste, all name brand stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's like almost aluminum is in it. So and I was like, oh, this is having a reaction to me. Yeah. Because maybe I'm already this type of maybe there's a certain temperature in my body already that for maybe normal people it might be fine, but like for me it's
well, I think it's agreed that there are toxic substances in all of those. I've also moved over to like a natural deodorant, natural toothpaste.
Yeah, so I started making them actually.
Oh, you made your own?
Yeah, I made it.
Yeah, that's the way to go. That's cool.
I made the deodorant and the toothpaste. And there's advantages of having preservatives and not, right? Because like with the deodorant, you have to keep it in the fridge or else it's just going to melt. Like,
how do you make your own?
I don't know. I think there's it's either arrowroot powder or one of the things that keeps it dry. That keeps you from sweat. I think that's the ingredient in it that kind of keeps it from melting or whatever too.
Not just a good cookie.
Yeah. I have a funny sketch too I put on YouTube about making my own toothpaste.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's on my YouTube.
Yeah, so. I actually just got, and some people are poo-pooing it. I have family that's in the dental field, but I just got this coconut oil to do oil pulling. And honestly, I mean, I haven't, I'm not, what's the word? Disciplined. I'm not doing it all the time. Yeah. But when I remember to, I'll like put it in my mouth and hop in the shower and then just like, do it in the morning. But
still healing.
We'll see, because I do have some, it's supposed to be good for if you have like a receding gum somewhere. I brushed too hard on one side and it's supposed to be good for that. So trying it.
It's funny, I did use it for a while, and I finally went to the dentist, and it's like, till the teeth are filthy.
With coconut oil?
Well, I was just doing my own. No, I was only having my own homemade toothpaste, right? And so I was like, I probably should whiten them once, or no, get them really cleaned with.
With a dental appointment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Those things, it's good to get them. They can scrape shit off that we can't. They should. It's just good to do it once in a while.
But I'm good though. Like it's apparently once you get past a certain age, if you've taken care of your teeth for a while, it's not smooth sailing, but it's a lot easier.
Oh.
So that's what I've been told. After your 40s or whatever, if you don't have any really big complications, then
I hope that's so. My whole family is from the dental field. Like my dad, my uncle, my mom was a hygienist, my cousin, I worked at their dental office. Like it's just in me. So I never wanted to be a dentist, although in hindsight, it's not a bad profession. You can have independence, and it was good, but I was just never interested. But on the other hand, I was never weirded out by the dentist. I was always totally cool and chill going to the dentist because the dentist was my dad.
Used to it.
And like the smells or whatever, I was like, fine.
Where was it?
They worked of Rexdale, and my dad also worked in Scarborough. He had 2 offices. Yeah.
I've been going to the same dentist since I was like 3 years old. So my dad brought us when we were young.
It is good. I promote dental care.
Yeah. Well, I can't afford it now, but because I'm uninsured and I've gone for so long, he gives me a deal. So he comes to the Raptor game, so I put him on the screen.
Right. And, I think that, they are moving towards some form of benefits for people, and they really should have it for everyone.
I see that, and I think really after, if I read, because I read into that before I went, I think it's in the new year, I think first they were taking people over 65 and then under 18. So now I think everybody else gets it.
They should.
There's so much money in the fucking government.
Yeah.
Anyways, let me get on to your music. So,
all right.
That's a good segue there. So obviously you didn't go down the dental plan, Ruth. So when did music first? I can feel like you kind of grew up with music, but it's like, when did it really spark and say like, I want to grab something and really start playing?
Well, I think my parents you want me to pause?
Yeah, no, this thing is just...
just can't handle my face. Yeah. I thank my parents for being attuned to my interest. I got involved as a young kid, and I still remember a few flashbacks. Like I was walking around the house listening to a Walkman, actually in the backyard. I was listening to my dad's cassette of Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers, like 50s doo-wop, and started singing out loud. My dad heard me, and he was like, she can sing. She can carry a tune. We should get involved in music. And then I had a little solo in a school play when I was in grade 1, and the teacher said, yeah, get her into music. So then my mom hooked me up with piano lessons, and from there I was in a children's choir that was like a very prestigious choir in Toronto called the Canadian Children's Opera Company. Okay. Yeah. And that really put me on to it and changed my life. It was very amazing experience for me. I was in that choir from I guess about 8 or 9 until 16. So that really inspired me. And then I went to a high school for the performing arts where I studied opera. And then at that point, I kind of did have this schism. I don't know what to call it. Like I decided not to.
Fork in the road.
Yeah, fork in the road. Yeah. I decided not to pursue a post-secondary degree in music, but I later regretted it. But I was already on a different path, and it wasn't too far off. I went to McGill and I studied arts, and I was very involved extracurricularly. I was still doing a lot of stuff and studying with voice teachers and doing theater and stuff.
So you lost interest in the academic part of it.
I guess so. I
guess structured academic, not you're always learning.
I guess so. Like I didn't feel. I think I didn't feel challenged at one point in time, and I made an assumption that if then a degree is just going to be kind of. I don't know exactly what it was, but I quickly realized I was wrong. Yeah. So then once I was at McGill, I did try to take in extracurricular and do courses. What do they call them? Elective courses, and just keep it going. And then I also still was at this fork, and it's kind of hard for me. I didn't really know. I was quite aimless. I still am, but I was even more so. Maybe when I was younger, and didn't really have the confidence or the vision for myself about doing music as a career, to be honest, but would never let it go. Like I couldn't let it go.
There's something that just
it's just the thing that
back of your head always.
It's the thing that helps me be closer to me.
Yeah, it's
the most me I can be is when I'm creating and performing. So
did you know that at that time, or is it just like something when you look back you're like, hey, that was a moment that
I think I've always known. And then in periods of life when I've had trouble, I've dealt with depression and in some cases had severe depression, and really it was music that helped take me out of it. And music was always the thing that could ground me and connect me and help me learn about me and pull me out of those things. So actually, it was when I was studying. I was at Western, doing a law degree, and it was kind of a rough time because it didn't really fit. I kind of knew that path was going to be a challenging one, but I was in it. Yeah. And I started actually gigging at a jazz club while I was in law school. Okay.
Western's in Guelph, right?
It's in London.
London, my bad. Yeah.
Ontario. Yeah. I was kind of going through a rough time. Somehow came upon this jazz club. I remember like dropping off this weird demo that I had done as a party favor for my mom's birthday. My dad, I went to some place I found that had these like basically really cheesy backing tracks a la Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, like on a CD or like a...
Sure, on a CD. And I went there and recorded them, and then my dad listened to it and he said, "Oh, this is great. We'll hand it out at your mom's party."
Oh, no. Did you know that was going to be the outcome when you recorded it?
And at the time I was like, okay, because I wasn't really schooled with like engineering. I didn't realize. I was like, I'm singing, it's fine, sure. Yeah. But now I'm glad I can't locate it, because if I listen to
don't dig it up. Yeah.
One day I'll probably come across it.
One day. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was hilarious. But then, so I took that CD. I was like, I've got a demo. I'll drop it off to this jazz club. And the guy just couldn't. I don't want to know what the guy thought. But I was what is the name? Seasoned professional and named John Newberryan, pianist, and he ran the booking at this club. And he gave me a shot.
Oh, nice.
And he let me kind of cut my teeth with a jazz trio. I had not done that before. Yeah. And it just kind of went from there. So I started doing like ensemble work at a jazz club while I was studying. And then when I moved back here, started going to open mic nights, like the jazz open mic nights. There was one called...
Keep talking. I'm going to just fix this camera.
Yeah? You want me to?
Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Lisa Particelli's Jazz Jam. I just started going to that and meeting people in the scene and working here in Toronto as a singer, mostly in the like jazz world. And what else? I'm just rambling now.
When did you move to Toronto?
Well, I'm born and raised here. I just spent time away from here.
Though.
I know, yeah.
You said like
North York?
North York, yeah.
North York, yep. Grew up there. Went to school. High school's Earl Hague.
Oh, I know of Earl Hague.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in the city here until I was about 12. But my parents' first apartment was up on Bathurst and Wilson.
Bathurst and Wilson.
Right up there.
I know it.
Right
My
up there.
people.
Right up in your hometown.
Oh yeah, Big World.
Yeah. Oh,
legendary.
Always good, babe. But I don't remember. I was like, we moved I think before I was 2.
Okay.
But I grew up in the West End here, and I went to
the East End. We're in the East End.
No, not here. I'm pointing that way. I'm pointing west. That way. No, I grew up in Dufferin and Davenport.
Oh, okay.
Right around there.
I like it. That's kind of near where I am now.
Yeah, I went to school Regal Road, up the top of the school there, up the hill there. And I went to Winona. Winona and St. Clair there. And it was I don't know how the hell my mom got me into that school, because it was like rich kids. Like, not super rich kids, but like, you know, schooled art students.
It was a private school?
No, it was not private school. It was grade 7 and 8, so it was very unique. It was like just a junior high, and it was art. Like, you had a major in art every day. So it was either your homeroom, because most schools, like, your homeroom is English and whatever. Our homeroom was either theater or music. Mm-hmm. So you did music every day, or you did theater every day. So I wasn't really into music then. I didn't start going down that path yet. But I did theater, and all we did was sketches every day, and it was the funnest shit.
That's awesome.
It was so fun. And this was like early 90s when Living Color was around. So we would come in Monday and just everybody be raving about all the sketches we saw in Living Color, and just...
Oh, nice.
And it was interesting because it was like you grew up in Toronto. It was like all multicultural. So everything that came out of Living Color was like we could relate to, because there was the humor there, and like we lived in the city already too.
Right.
So it was easy to relate to. And then I moved to Newmarket when I was like 12, 13. So I got living in the city, living in the burbs, and then I went up to North Bay for school.
Oh, really?
That's a different story. But yeah, so yeah, good like sense of both worlds growing up, and I'm pretty grateful for that. Like, inner city, burbs, like two totally different lifestyles, you know?
Yeah.
So
there's a part of me that kind of has a yearning for the country life, because I've just been here, here. And I have traveled to some very different places.
I think you would like it. It's
a
different stage of your life. I think you appreciate certain living environments, I think.
Yeah. Definitely we don't get enough nature here. It's part of the reason why when I was cycling, I cycled here, as you know.
So which way did you come?
Came through, let's see, Davenport down to like Park, where the Rosedale Valley is.
Yeah, like Avenue, you go down Avenue kind of.
I got myself to Rosedale Valley, and I made sure to look up. I was annoyed because there was
hill.
There's tons of stuff.
That's a fucking hill.
There was so much construction, and I was so annoyed. But then I looked up, and I was like, I saw these beautiful yellow leaves, the yellow big trees, gorgeous, and I was like, okay, don't just try to enjoy it. That's part of why you rode your bike. You want to get outside.
Yeah.
That is a nice ride. I used to do a lot of rides from where I lived, which is like the Midtown, to Tommy Thompson Park, to Cherry Beach down there. And it was such a great ride. And this kind of felt a little like it. This is a long ride. It's about 45 minutes to get here. And I'm recovering from an injury, so we'll see if I can get home. Oh my God.
It's funny, I could tell, like, in a way, sometimes when I meet people who grow up in the city here, or who live in the city here, I can, after talking to them for a while, you can tell who grew up in the city. Like a lot of people that I know
gives it
grew
away?
up in the city ride bikes because they are like. I remember a time in Toronto when there was no traffic. So now there's lots of traffic, and I will not deal with it whatsoever. Yeah. And it's like I have a lot of friends who grew up in suburbs, and they live here, and they will refuse to take transit. They just drive, no matter what, how bad the transit is. So it's not 100%. That's the stereotype.
I also drive a lot, but today I just thought, there is something
across the city.
It
anyway,
is.
so let's get back on track. You were in London. You got this jazz spot, so you had a jazz trio. Mm-hmm. So did that become like a regular thing, or is it just like a one-off there, and then you built onto other? So
the guy who booked that club, it was called Maggie's Supper Club.
Yeah.
He would book me. So it wasn't my band, but I was the singer playing with him and whoever bass player he was hiring. It was just it was kind of a standing gig. Like he had a rotating list of singers that he would hire. And I did that for a while I was there in school. And I just kind of like figured out how to do trio or ensemble work.
Gotcha.
Through that.
Yeah.
And then refined it. We're always refining it, but like kind of, I don't know. I hadn't worked. I actually don't know why I didn't do it earlier. 'Cause I remember I had a teacher when I was at Earl Haig, 'cause I was a music major. I had a teacher who's a jazz player, John Pagnotta. He's still playing. And he invited me to a gig, a New Year's gig or something that he was doing when I was still a student to kind of observe and see if that path was something I wanted to do. And I really thought it was cool, but then for some reason, I just didn't. Like I went off to university and I did whatever, but then I ended up coming back to it.
Oh, interesting.
Because that's kind of where I started working in the jazz world. But it did kind of take me, I guess, a little bit of time to come around to it. 'Cause I guess part of it is that I've not really ever picked a laneway of like, I am this kind of musician or I am this kind of a singer. I was always interested in a bunch of different things. I'm interested in theater, interested in creating music with Loom Machine, interested in singing.
Which all adds up to being a performer.
It does, yeah. But I think because I was never sure, nor am I still sure of like what kind, like I'm not one thing. It can be hard to decide which way to go, and also for people to figure out what you are, like from a marketing
what kind of
perspective.
music do you play? Yeah.
I've gotten that question a lot.
That's a double-edged sword too, because it's like you are it's easier for people to categorize you and stuff like that, and you're right too. It's like you want to find out what type of artist you are, but to me, it's like it depends what stage of life you're in too, because I find you're always changing as an artist, constantly developing. You might not be you're definitely not the same artist you were when you were 20 as you were 30, 40. For sure. So it's music is a different thing like that, because I feel like it's different for actors and somebody that plays a specific role. And they can play that role over and over in many types of movies, Whereas a musician, it's like you're almost expecting them to change.
Well, I don't know if I totally agree with that, because I think there are some actors who are always looking for a different kind of role. True. Just like a musician that's always looking for a different kind of experience. I've lately been trying to, if I have any manifesting powers, and I've only a couple times in my life actually sort of been able to manifest this thing. I'll tell you offline because it's pretty funny about it. But I have been trying to say, like, really what I want, if I can't be someone who can be super focused because I'm just not that kind of a artist that always is going to be like, well, then at least I want to try to manifest, hey, I'd like a new experience. I'd like to do something new and different. I'd like to maybe invite this, this kind of a thing. Like, I'd like maybe to try, I don't know, this kind of a piece, or work with this kind of a group. Yeah,
I was like, that's what I like about your music. You seem like very open to experimentation. Like you're okay. Like you've nailed this part. You're like, let's add this. Let's try this. Let me, like, with your looping stuff and just the different type of musicians you add. And I see you have like different styles too. Jazz, electronic, like singer-songwriter, all this type of different stuff. So that's you taking a shot and just seeing like, let me see if this works,
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
I love
do.
that in an artist. It's just like you're not putting yourself in a pigeonhole. You're just kind of like, I'm adaptable, you know, I can do all this. Like, whatever, you know, like you want a trio, I can bring a trio. You want a whole band, I can bring a band. You want just somebody solo, I can do that, you know? It's like...
Yeah. I do. I admire versatility in other artists, and so it's something that I think I've always strived for.
Yeah.
And what about you? Like, how do you approach your art?
I approach it as growth, really. And growth, and also kind of keep myself sharp and give myself a little bit of a challenge too, because it's like you come prepared expecting to perform in a certain way, and then I'm just talking like open mics or whatever, but like you go with your own gig, you have your shit set, you know. But you know, I've been in situations where I just like I've brought my tracks and they're like, no, we're not doing that, we have a band. I'm like, all right, I'll do it with the band. So I'm never the one to say, oh, I got to do it this way. So it's like wherever environment I'm in and they're giving me like no ultimatum, then I'll go to there. Okay. And I can adapt.
I think I've mostly heard you live with your band, which is very cool. Bad Meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was something I wanted to do that was like the third time I put that together.
Nice.
With a full band. So I like... Because now this new album, I feel like I'm going to go back to a lot of solo performance with maybe just Wayne or somebody, just like an ensemble. And I'm going to be adding more visual aspect to it.
That's cool.
So more B-roll and like projector stuff. And the band was, for me, it was more of like I'm getting older. And it's like the material I have, it's not like I was bored of playing it solo. It was just I wanted to change it and just like present it in a different way, because the third album I made it very musically, and I wanted it to get people dancing, because it's like the last two albums I had where you're sitting to the lyrics more, and like this one I want to get people off their ass, even though the lyrics are still kind of the same, the messages are still kind of the same, but it's still I want like people grooving, right? So that third album, I really like. It was all great musicians. I paid a lot of money to get that album done
with an intention, like
with an intention of like I have 7 solid tracks that people can bust their move to. So and then that's the band was a perfect conclusion to that,
right?
Like, to present it live. It's like, okay, I recorded with great musicians, so now I want to perform with great musicians. But me, everything just not just comes to me, but it's like I'm working every day at it. So when the opportunities present itself to me, I'm like, I take it in.
Right. That's good. I did want to ask you about your writing process.
So writing process is all over the map for me, but mostly it's, and I was just, this is funny because I'll tell you what I do, and this was my next question to you, was like, what's your work regime? Because we do it all. We have to do social media. We have to do,
the booking,
law work, booking, everything, all that shit, right? We have to find our finances and
applying for grants, all this, organizing the tour. Yeah.
So for me, what's really, I kind of got this nailed down almost a year ago, and I do 5 hours a day. So every day for an hour I do emails, whatever that is, booking gigs, doing factor shit, whatever I gotta do that's tedious crap. And that's like right out of the gate when I wake up, have a cup of coffee, my hour, ease into it. So an hour, set my alarm for an hour, that's it. No matter what, no matter where I am in it, done. The hour's done. I did what I could in an hour, done. Next hour, I might take 5 minutes break. Either I read or write or edit for an hour straight. And then that's a break. So hour straight, done. And then I take a break and I have a physical workout. So either half-hour workout, or I go to the pool or yoga, and I have to have that physical 1 hour of work in every day. And then after that, it's 1 hour music, writing, rewriting a track, mixing, anything. an hour I put in, and then once that hour is done, it's done. I put it aside, and then there's one other thing I do. It's editing, music, reading. The emails, and then so I do that every day. Well, I don't work during the day, so let me put that. I don't have a job at 9 to 5. It's like, how the fuck does he do all this? I don't have kids. I don't have any response. But I could sit and watch TV and fucking do fuck all day if I want.
Right.
I have that opportunity to do it, but I don't.
So first of all, that is amazing. Yeah. That's like # goals.
So sorry, I want to conclude that.
Okay,
it's
please.
Like the reason I do the reading and writing every day, it's like working your muscles. So when I'm ready, game time, and the idea comes, the page is just flawless. Like when I write the verse, it's because I only like 95% of the stuff I don't use. It's just daily routine of stuff. And then when it does come, I can nail it. Like I can grab it. And then you're like, that's one. That's a good one.
That's really impressive.
I did 4 years of that for lockdown. I had so many songs. So now the last 6 months, I've just been going through all the...
Awesome. Did you get that from Lex Fridman? Because I remember listening to him, and he's got a pretty regimented schedule.
It's funny you mentioned him, because it was... I always had this, like... I always disciplined myself in certain ways, but it was always like, I gotta finish this fucking project. And then, as artists, we have all these major projects, and it's like, I got a video, I got all this and that. So I was like, that's the way I thought of it. And I think it was the same time I had to do my fucking taxes last year, because it's like, I always wait to 3 weeks before, and it's fucking chaos, So I was like, I'm only going to do this an hour a day. And I was like, I'll do as much as my taxes. And then by the end of 3 weeks, it was all done. It was like, and I had it done 2 months before I had to submit it. So I was like, this is how I'm going to tackle big projects.
That's
great. It's just chip away. But not only just chip away at stuff, but like the constant, like especially the reading and the writing, the constant exercise of it. And also the swimming, you would know this as a singer, but the swimming, the short breaths is so good for rapping.
Yeah.
Like all that phrasing and stuff like that. And then I noticed on stage, the phrasing is getting tighter and tighter with the reading and
that's really inspiring hearing you. Like,
so, and I
want to try to.
I'm not born with no talent at all. I'm telling you, it's like
that's
everything
really
I have is work. I work for, and I continue to work. And I had something in my mind today, which is interesting, is when you've done push-ups for so long and it's becoming easier, you got to remind yourself it's easier because you're doing it every day.
Yeah, I got to do a 45-minute bike now every day.
That's like, and then it becomes, so sorry.
Yeah,
I went
it's a good point.
But,
no, it's a really good point.
But if you make it, here's another, I think I heard this on Joe Rogan. He said, if you do stuff that's difficult in the day, you push yourself with stuff like that, then the tedious tasks become so much easier, not as daunting, and everything that comes bearing down on you is not as, severe. And
I guess though it depends on what you find tedious, because to be honest, like I have a day job and I'm very used to emailing and responding to people, and I that's kind of what I do. So,
a lot of energy on other people's stuff, yeah.
But then having the discipline to sit and write and try to open up the channels for that creativity is so hard for me, and I find at times tedious. Like I even had this workbook, I guess it was a songwriter's, like write about the sky for 5 minutes, set your timer, whatever, and I was like, oh, this is shit, and it was so hard to sit there and do it. I don't have a regimented schedule, and I don't I would like to have a better grasp on that, but I'm not very prolific, I guess, because I don't have that, and I'm constantly maybe there's some ADHD in there, constantly jumping from one thing to another. I do get done the things that I need to get done, but I would say that I definitely don't have a structure. I tend to work in the evening. I don't know, better, or I can feel like I can zone in sometimes in the evening.
It's your time. It's your time.
Yeah,
on
that's
company
right.
time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's whether or not you are on a company or not.
Yeah, exactly.
But there, you're right on that. But I would love to try to get
well, try
more
that, but
that.
don't. Here's the thing: don't overwhelm yourself. I only do this because I have the time.
Well, one thing that one thing that I do like doing,
or maybe do half hour instead of hour.
Right.
Do half hour on this, half hour on that.
Probably the writing is the hardest part. One thing I enjoy very much doing, and I actually am looking forward to, is these loop covers, and like coming up with a loop cover is a lot of fun for me. It's like me time, and it's engaging, and it's still music work, but it's also kind of like a puzzling and a bit of mathematical, analytical, and I enjoy that. So I have so it's good for me to like make a list of, okay, I want to work on this one, or I want to try and get this. So I have one that I want to work on. It's on my to-do list. But it really is tough when you're trying to assemble, like, right now, I haven't done a good job, but right now is the time when people are setting up all of their like summer, like, am I going to go on a tour or whatever. And that's just such a
Well, even
mountain.
that I put to an hour a day. You know what I've done is I compartmentalize it a lot, and I'm really gunning for the States next year because I finally got back in the States for one show.
That's good.
That's where I'm really going for next year. But you're right too, because I used to start booking in January, and that's too late.
Yeah.
It's like if you're looking for the rest of the year, you're already behind everybody. And so I've been doing it now.
Yeah,
and the last month, and I've been actually getting responses. And what I've realized is that even though it's so far in the future for them, I've gotten a few responses where like, we're not opening our books for June yet, but we'll call you when we do.
Right.
So it's like you've already made the introduction. They like your stuff. They see, I don't know, they've skimmed through your links or whatever.
Yeah.
And you've already past that point, right? When they're not busy, right? So and then when the calendar starts filling up, they're like, oh, that's that guy from Toronto who wants to come.
Right.
We'll put him in. And
I agree. I also want to do a States thing again. It is so hard for Canadians with the whole visa thing.
It is, and with me as a rapper, it's like I'm lucky because I don't have any gear, so it's just like easy to just go in and like, oh, I'm going to the States. So this might work for you. This is how I've got around it. Is I went to Edmonton in September, and I have a good friend that I met here in Toronto, a younger guy, drummer, and him and I have been talking, and he's been itching to play drums. And I'm like, well, let's put a band together out there. And I had lots of advance time. So this is what Facebook is awesome at, is Facebook sucks at a lot of shit, but the group stuff is great. Like, depends what you need. The musician groups are awesome on Facebook. It's like Musicians Edmonton or whatever. So I put a post out, my link. I said, I have a drummer. We're looking for a guitar player and a bass player for these 2 dates at these locations,
Nice. Yeah.
So I got tons of responses back, and I said, here's my tracks, sent them my tracks. He learned them. I also have, Ilya did this for me when he came over. He wrote all my songs. He wrote the notes for the guitars. So I have a PDF of that.
That's great.
So if a guitar player, I'll just send them the notes. Like, here are the notes. And I give them access to my instrumentals. So I have instrumentals on the drive. So they get the instrumentals, the tracks, and what else did I say? Yeah, any information they need, I give them. And then it worked out great.
Yeah, like, they'll appreciate that. That's good.
Jammed out. It was more of a rock, harder version of my stuff, which was cool.
How do you, well, you sort of answered it because it's just you. But yeah, like the whole funding thing is a real challenge. Because, for people who aren't aware, like if you apply for a grant, you basically have to just hope that you get it and have contingency plans, because the timing is such that you got to like get the invite letter, then plan your tour, apply for the grant, do all your bookings,
effect.
then see if you got the money.
Yeah.
If you didn't, then I guess, I don't know, a kill switch, or I don't really know, because I've always just, part of what I did is like, if I didn't get a grant, I self-funded. If I decided to go, I went, and I was often just me or like some people. That's why this next chapter, if I want to tour a band, I can't really be as out of pocket as I was, and so I'm
contemplating
how to do that.
Yeah, that's the tough part, is because you know, I'm fortunate enough I have a decent job, but it doesn't pay a lot of my bills, right? So it's like, I have some jobs where I travel, so I am able to like accumulate points.
Oh,
so I can accumulate airplane points, and that helps me with like a flight to the States just to get there. So my last tour in July, in Canada, I made it so that I went places I have a place to stay.
That's good.
So Ottawa, I had a place to stay. Montreal, I had friends for a whole week. Went to Halifax, had friends there. The only place I didn't have was New Hampshire, and I had no money for a hotel, so I stayed a day and a half up. I flew there.
Oh, well.
I did it in luxury though, so I had all these points, and you know sometimes when you see like what the points are valued as, a business class one came up, and it was the same amount of points for a normal one. So I grabbed the business class flight. So I had a business class flight from Halifax to Montreal to Boston.
Oh.
So it was like pure luxury, but I was a broke ass musician, right? Like I'm there in the group, like that's in. Funny. You know, the lounge with other real musicians that are probably touring with money and shit. And I'm like, this is what it's like to travel like as a musician, right?
I have never flown on business class.
Neither have I. And I was like, I just lucky because the points thing worked out. And then I get there. And this is the difference between a lot of the places in the U.S. and Canada is like the professionalism you're treated with as a musician when you go to places in the States. They fucking love musicians and they treat it like a profession.
I'll agree.
A lot of places. Every place I've been to in the States, whether it's a small place or you're always treated with thank you for coming, bringing your original music. They're so grateful.
Yeah.
And when the night doesn't work out, they're so apologetic. They're like, so sorry, you know, come back next time, it'll be a better night. It's not your fault. It's always like your fault here in Canada.
Right.
It's like, you didn't bring the people, you didn't advertise, I did everything. And it's like, it's hard to get people out here. But anyway, so my point is like, I was comfortable going there knowing that I had no place to stay. So I went there and the green room was awesome. And I just had a nap there. And then I was able to freshen up there and just kind of bum around for a while after the show.
Yeah.
And then I just caught a flight. I just kind of hung out at the bus station, which was really nice in New Hampshire, till like 3 a.m. And I took the bus right back to Logan Airport, and I was like 35 hours straight.
It's the life of a hustler.
But I took naps. That's the thing as a
business hustler.
Well, a seasoned musician traveler is you take naps whenever you can.
Yeah.
Always. And there's a moment, an hour. Like
I can't fall asleep at whim.
Well, I can't either, but it's like I try to at least close my eyes to kind of shut the system down.
I do that. I absolutely have to do that before a gig. I usually need to, even if I don't fall asleep, I need to physically lie down and just like mentally try to.
So how do you zone in? Like, is there something for you? Like me, when I get there and I set up, I want to start playing right away. It's that time between setting up and then waiting all night to play.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Do you have my day is like, I like to do as little as possible on a show day.
Me too.
It's hard to do sometimes, but I like to do as little as shit as possible.
I can't. I don't think I could at this time contemplate working a full day at other stuff and then jetting to a gig. Like I need
a full 2 set, 3 set. Yeah, there's no way.
I need the mental block, and I just need How do I
or do you have any preparation ritual, or you're getting yourself ready because you need your voice prepared and all that stuff, so there's things you prevent. But is there something like your daily gig?
Well, I will try to maybe get exercise that day.
Yes.
And then, like I say, have some sort of rest and no talking period. Although my dad's always calling me. My dad always calls me when I'm doing
Me too.
sound
I
check.
said like it too. Oh yeah,
I love him,
timing
but
is
like
right.
you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
always with the respect.
Yeah.
But no, I love him,
And
and
you can't not. You gotta answer down.
yeah.
Like me too.
But I try to, beforehand I try to have some downtime, and then I'll admit it, I usually warm up in the car, or sometimes in the shower, but usually in the car.
That's all you got sometimes, right?
And then sometimes in terms of focusing, sometimes it is kind of tricky if I'm the band leader, obviously, or so I really like being a side person where I can just show up. I feel like I can then just take care of me.
Yeah.
I like those things, and if I can't, then I guess it's not as formulaic, and I don't probably have a good ritual. I guess I use the first few songs to kind of like really, okay, here we are. I prefer not to wait all night. Yeah, when you're doing like when you're on a bill,
A 4-band bill. Or,
I don't like. I like being up first or second,
anymore.
and then I want to have a drink and enjoy myself. I don't want to be
the only one I really
on edge.
Put up with that was like the couple of times we played at the Horseshoe, and even then I was expecting, like I was asking, I can't remember the bookers now, but I was telling them, I've done enough Wednesday night slots, like, so last time we played, we finally got a Saturday night slot.
Nice.
But it was still like a 4-band showcase.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't do more than 3 bands in a night. It's just so long. And the guys are waiting all night. Like we're on last, so you sound checked first basically.
And you're just waiting there.
And you're just waiting and waiting and waiting.
One thing I did, sorry.
No, keep up.
Because it made me think of, so this past Friday, Flintlock, this jazz quintet I have. It was busy. We had all kinds of guests from out of town and people, and I'm running around in the intermission or in the set breaks talking to people and like being social, whatever. And I just was so drained. So in between, and also my voice was starting to go. So in between the break between the second and third set, I actually went out the back because some people are in the front. I went out to hide. I walked up and down. I actually did some stretches. I did some scales because my voice was starting to get a little bit tight. And it was some cold air and that really did help me. But James basically like has a policy where he's not really going to talk to people like on the gig. That if his friends show up, he's happy they're there, but he can't really talk to them. Like he needs to be out. Yeah. And I appreciate that. Yeah. I don't think I'm so. I wish I could have that, but I worry too much. Oh, I want to say hello to this person or whatever.
Yeah. Well, especially if you haven't seen them in a while, but
it's something to really try to establish. I take a cue and just kind of have to. I did say at one point when I was talking to these people, I was like, okay, I have to go now. I need a break.
I've actually been singing all. Yeah.
In a nice way.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to yell over this
needed.
music. Yeah.
But it's also almost easier, like you said, just to be out of sight.
Yeah.
As opposed to like.
Yeah.
Geez, I always go by a lot of things comics do, and one comic he'll be the same. He's like, I can't go out and watch other sets because not that I'm too big for it, but it's like I'd rather just sit in the green room and just have quiet for a moment. And then kind of like hear what's going on out there. Mm-hmm. And also he's like, before I go up, I don't want to really be interacting with a lot of people. Yeah,
but sometimes in a lot of places we play and there's no green room.
There is no green room. You have no choice. You're like right beside the stage. Yeah. You're like, I'm up next. And like,
you're just there. Like, I guess, my answers are I'm realizing with things like your writing strategy and your gig prep, I don't really have a very good regimen.
Yeah.
And I guess that in moments I just have to like pull right from inside and just get it together. Yeah. And sometimes that can be good because come on.
You're disciplining yourself in a way.
But it's not I guess there are things to tweak.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to tweak them.
I wanted to talk about law. We were talking about that before when I saw you, and so how does that relate to your music at all, or is it just
No, not really. No.
Okay. Okay. What law do you practice?
I practice estate law.
Okay.
I do, as a matter of fact, do some entertainment law, and people always ask me, "Oh, why aren't you an entertainment lawyer? Well, that would fit." And they're not wrong, but here in Toronto where I live, there's not a whole lot of entertainment work. And so if you do want to do entertainment work, you really need to have had the experience of being a corporate lawyer. When I had that decision to make, I did summer at a music law firm, and it was cool. I got to do some cool stuff. But I saw the trajectory that I would have had to basically like work on Bay Street, work your ass off, and schlep until you could. That's how I saw that life, and then make a name for yourself doing the corporate work, and then get entertainment work.
Different type of ladder climbing.
Yeah, and frankly, I was gigging. I wanted to be able to leave work at a decent time to make my gig. And so I decided to work for a small firm uptown doing what they wanted. And what they wanted was estate work, and it worked out. And it was more of a practical schedule, not too intense, although it is a very intense job. But for law, being an estate lawyer is like a lesser intense. So you're not doing deals at 11 p.m.
Yeah,
and
you're working
not a litigator.
Bank hours, really.
Yeah, well, yeah, I tried very hard to stick with that. Yeah, that's the day gig.
So has any of that kind of taught you anything about law in music, or did that veer any interest into that category? Because you obviously know a bit about publishing and stuff like that. So how did that? Did somebody show you, or just curiosity, or just like how did you figure out? Well, just like publishing in general, and did anybody show you how to get your songs prepared? Like for myself, my engineer, he showed me how to get my ISRC codes, my SOCAN.
I have to think
all
back.
All that stuff, and he was like got me.
He got you set
on that like probably 10 years ago.
I honestly don't remember. I'm sure that someone told me a few things and I asked the questions and I did my own research. And so I set myself up from the get-go with SOCAN, and when I needed the mechanical licenses for the covers, like I did it all. I'm sure that someone along the way helped me. I don't want to not give thanks, but I also researched and like made calls and looked into it because that I know how to do that end of it.
Well, it's a rabbit hole in its own.
Oh yeah, and now as a matter of fact, I don't know when this is airing, but I don't know if you've heard, they're switching everything, and it's all messed up. So
we're gonna put this out tonight, actually.
Okay, so if you collect for your masters, Connect Music is no longer going to be repping independent artists. So I've been working or putting calls in.
Is that your distributor?
It's for your. I'm gonna show that I don't really know. It's for your master rights.
Oh yeah, so that is.
It's not for the writing. SOCAN still.
Yeah, it's a
reproduction.
That company puts it out to Spotify and all that stuff.
Oh,
sorry, it's your. I understand what you mean. Yeah, I have a code for
the
that.
reproduction
it's like
rights.
CA.
Reproduction rights for your masters.
It's your number as a. Oh, your UPC code.
I don't know what codes match to what, but I just know the different rights. So Connect Music is not repping independent artists anymore, and if you need to do this, January 1, they're switching. So Suprock, which is a Quebec-based company, is now taking over. So I've been talking with them, but then also MROC. Okay, I think the musician. I don't know what this even stands for. Something Musicians' Rights Organization Canada or something like that. They're also becoming defunct, I think. And so I've been trying to just reassemble in my mind all the different places I need to call to like reconfigure everything. Then also neighboring rights. I haven't really applied for them in the past because it's usually my own music, but I do want to get that piece in place. That's like now Artisty, I think they're called that, or ACTRA RACS. Those are the two bodies for your neighboring rights, and I need to sort that out. So I guess I'm not sounding very articulate right now because I usually have like a little spreadsheet. Well, I need to diagram it out.
I actually have. I wrote it in one of my notebooks. I have it all. It's like family tree looking style.
Yeah, and I did speak with. There are some musicians that have gotten funding to give. I think they do podcasts on this. Joel Schwartz and Aaron Lightstone, I think, have some kind of a free webinar every so often for musicians if they want to tune in to hear about these rights and what to do and updates. I forget the name. But yeah, so it goes to show it's so convoluted and complicated. Even someone like me who's got a law degree is like, what?
Many fucking layers. So this is what I know of. Song Trust, I did a bunch of online webinars during the lockdown, just learning about all that.
Maybe that's
all
their
the
thing.
Components. So yeah, so I think, okay, so this is what I know. Your ISRC is your master code, and that's your code as an individual, an artist in the country you're from. So my code is CA, whatever, da 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 da, and then you fill in the information per year and per song you put out. So this year is like CA da 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 da, 25, 4 zeros, 1. So that's your master. Then you have your ISWC, which is your composition, your instrumentals. And that's the one you want to register in SOCAN first before you do anything. So you register that. And then once you get those two numbers, you go through whatever distribution you go through. DistroKid, CD Baby, whatever. I have Indie Pool, actually.
Oh, yeah? I just asked about that. I haven't.
Yeah, so they're Canadian. And the good thing about them is they have people. You can talk to and email and
great.
ask shit to get done, and it gets done, and it's not some bot chat thing that drives me bonkers. So, and they're Canadian, so you don't have to pay American tax.
That's good.
On your streaming,
that's really good.
If you make a certain amount, and then they take 10%. So I know DistroKid doesn't take anything, but they have like zero customer service.
I know. I have a release with them, and that's.
I fucking hate DistroKid.
I worked with a UK. With like Horace. I did all this research, and like at the end of the day, it's like, well, whatever. They're all Horace music. And I don't know why I chose them. They're fine. I don't have anything negative, but also not really anything positive either.
Yeah. Well, the reason I chose Indie Pool is because like I said, my engineer, he got me on right away. And we were at CD Baby right off the bat. This is 2010. So it's like 15 years ago almost. And at the time, CD Baby took 30%. So every dollar you made 30%. And then on top of that, you would have to pay the tax. But I only made like a few dollars, so it didn't matter, right? And then they had a side company called Rumblefish. And Rumblefish was giving you money for all your YouTube views. And because you own the stuff, you were getting your master.
I never got that.
Too. This is like long
before.
time ago. And then what happened with YouTube is like so many, not bot accounts, but like real accounts with stolen footage. So people would take footage and songs and upload it, and their channel would grow. So YouTube made these new mandates that you need 1,000 subscribers, this many hours to be a partner. But my channel was on well before that, where I already had the option of monetize or not. So I chose to monetize, but then when they went and re-updated everything, I didn't have the criteria, right? So I'm almost at 1,000.
Let's plug our channels. Me too.
But that's the way this works. So this is what I want to do, is because that's the way that YouTube that's what I'm talking about too, is like that's the power of YouTube. And in platforms like that is you have a channel and I have a channel, and then when I tag you in it, it triggers the algorithm in your channel.
Right.
So when people are looking at your stuff, then that searches in, and then those little shorts come into play too. So
I know everyone says the shorts are where it's at, but
it is. So
I
here,
it's
so easy. It's very easy. I'll give you a little seminar.
Okay.
So here, actually, I'll just show you. It's real quick. So you go into, let's use the.
I've done a few. I know how to do some.
Yeah, but it's more like.
It's like another thing you gotta do.
Yeah, so you go in to YouTube, and the cool thing about it is it goes back to, it links to your original video. So you go, say I want to go to this one with Ilya.
Oh, nice. I gotta listen to that.
Exactly. Yeah. In a way where, so you go to remix, hit add into short.
Oh.
You can make it a 15.
There's a remix button.
Yeah, so 15.
Oh, that's for any video?
Yeah.
Any video at all that you
So
have
I can
uploaded?
do yours. Like I can.
What? Okay, I gotta do this tonight. I'm gonna do like 50.
Yeah. So I can go into yours.
Yeah.
And let's just go to one of your original. Here's your channel.
Huh? Where's my channel? Yeah, that's an original.
So commercials, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I don't like that. I wanted to say.
Well, it gets us paid. That's the thing. That's another thing. Those commercials are good for us. So let's just go to. I think your music. You can do it any video.
Okay.
So you go. There it is. So you go remix.
Wait, what did you do for? Oh,
So,
mine's an iPhone.
Yeah, remix.
Remix. Okay.
Sound. So this one, I think you can just use the sound. And then put your own video over it.
Or what's green screen?
Or you can put a green screen. Like that's the one where your people are in front of it and it's all.
Oh, so there's extra steps though.
Yeah.
What if I just want to do a short? Make it real easy peasy.
Yeah. So let me. A better video for that, I think, is one that's not music. I think.
Oh, that's not good.
That's music note.
Yes. Huh.
So this one would be. I think you can do it there. I don't know.
No.
There's no shorts there.
I guess there's.
I think you have to get it set up. Oh, you do have shorts.
I have a few. The odd time I put some on.
Anyways, the point of it is that you can, when you're doing it, you can select what video it goes to.
Okay.
So
you know what? I'm going to promise you and me to do something.
Just watch some videos. Honestly, that's all
Yeah.
I do is watch YouTube videos. It's like how to make a short.
Yeah.
And then it just shows you through the steps. It's pretty simple.
I have been trying to do a new series, which I think you just popped on one of those videos.
Okay.
A looping how-to with my machine.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got 3, I think, so far, and I'm going to try to continue doing them. I mean, it's not wonderful lighting like here. It's pretty,
I'm good. I had these lights before, too. So a lot of the stuff I already had.
I have a question about lighting. There's a glare. There's like a light glare.
That's a flare, they call it
flare?
usually. Yeah.
And how do you get rid of
Oh,
it?
because your lens is broken. I can see already.
Oh, and that's why? I can fix it.
You can replace those, and then that'll
Really?
fix it. Yeah.
It's just that?
That's
okay.
why, because it's trying to go through. It's like the glass is bent, so it's trying to go through two things.
It's not just from a light up there?
Well, the light's hitting it, and it's bending because the glass is broken. It's bent.
Okay.
And now it's contorting.
I can fix it. I have one of those replacement things.
Just replace that, and you'll be fine. And then get like a little cloth. And just wipe it.
I usually have this in a Defender case because I drop my phone all the time. But I was recently using the phone for a gig. Oh my God, I'm so mad. I have to share this with you because you're a film person. I am so mad at myself. I recorded with it. I bought an H5 or whatever. Yeah. And I recorded the show that I did with Flintlock on Friday. And our best set was the last set. It was really good. And I'm like, yay, I recorded it. I did everything. I go to look at the video. And the last set I said, my head's cut off. Yeah, I've done it. I was so fucking mad.
Don't feel bad for yourself because you're performing too.
Well, that's what I know, right? And I was like, I need someone to do this for me. But now I'm like, I want to upload that full set or something. But so what would you suggest? Just having like a stock image from the night and then let the show go? Or would you show it with the head cut off, the whole thing?
That's a tough one. The head cut off is a tough one. That's what we call no headroom. That's when you hear a director says headroom, like, see here my shot. There's some headroom. Yeah. So it would be
and you would think someone like me, there's going to be headroom.
You know what you do, actually? You know what you do is you get some sort of filter and, like, it has a frame around it or something. And you can actually move the video, so you can pull the video down.
I don't think I can because I set it up this way.
No, I mean the whole, like, so if you put it into Canva, you can actually move it down and then fill up the upper part with some text or
even
something.
Though your head's cut off. Do I know?
That's a decision you have to make. Maybe you don't put. It depends how bad it is. Like if it's like totally.
It's pretty. No, it's like it's pretty bad. Yeah. Sometimes I bend down and I'm like, oh, there I am.
Use the audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just it happens, and
it does. There was a lot going on that night.
There's so many especially
but only
with
that
the band,
set was the one with the one cut off, and it was the best set. Oh well.
You know how many shows I have that's the case.
Okay, that makes me feel better. You're professional.
Well, because you're worried about your show.
Yeah.
You're worried about performing.
I did check the first 2 sets, and then, last set I had a glass of wine. Okay, I stuck the thing in and maybe didn't check as well, and there you go.
So, well, do an inventory check before you go with your
Now
stuff.
I've learned, yeah.
Yeah, especially batteries. Charge your batteries. Always charge your batteries. We did one at Lee's Palace. Well, yeah, you were there. You did the one we did at Lee's Palace.
With Dr. Case.
Dr. Case.
Yeah,
that was
fun.
Great. So, same thing. I organized it. I put it together. I was responsible for talking to the staff and the door. I had to worry about all that shit and made sure everybody got sound check on time and my own band and my own set, all this shit, I had everything set up. I had 3 camera angles. It was beauty. We had a photographer. We had everything. I had the H5 recorder for our audio. We had it directly to the board. I forgot to do one fucking thing. I forgot to format the SD card on the fucking thing. So your guys' set was no. The first set was awesome. Got it. The second set got all of it. My set, one song in, cuts out, and then you guys didn't get it because.
Oh God! Yeah.
And then if I just had done that one thing, we would have had insane audio from the board, and like a beautiful, like the footage was great. So now I have amazing footage, but the audio fucking blows.
I also just did a gig where paid for the engineer of the venue to record. I brought my laptop and everything. Yeah. And then the laptop shut off in the middle of the first set, and he didn't have my password, and it didn't. And Ableton just stopped. I'm like, oh, why?
Yeah. So those are things you learn the hard way.
Yeah.
And that's with anything. That's like your gear. It's like your music gear. You do a little checklist. So we'll go trade stories here. So I don't want to. I love him. He's amazing, but he's old, and Wayne is, he's done it for a long time. We went all the way up to Halliburton. It was a 3-hour set, and we stayed at my aunt's the night before. He brought his PA. I have the rest of the gear, so we brought all the gear. He forgot the power amp that powers the PAs. And this is like 10 minutes before we're going to play. And I just went outside and I just went, fuck! Like this one loud, real fuck! And I just walked around. I'm like, we got to fix this. Or we don't have a gig. And then, so, there's nothing you can do. But the staff had 2 PAs in their closet. We pulled out all their fucking shit, ripped out the closet, but they had no power cords. And of course, bars, they don't know what goes with what. They just throw shit anywhere.
Right.
So luckily, my aunt and uncle were there. I called them up and I'm like, I need 2 DC cords, the ones that you put in a computer monitor. So he brought them over. And all the levels were out of whack. So my track sounded like dog shit. And I powered through 3 hours. With Wayne, and I was like, I want to throw him in the lake right now. But
I feel your pain.
You know what I mean? That was that one little thing. Yeah. And it's just, we still did it though. We had to do it. It's like we got paid. Yep. And I still went through it, and I was like,
I have a story
grinding my teeth,
absolutely. When it's going bad and you just gotta power through it.
Like, this is not how it sounds, folks. Yeah, it's like, it sounds better than this.
Yeah. Oh, I've definitely had those moments before I moved to the loop machine. Although I've had issues with the loop machine for sure in certain venues, but before that, when I was using Ableton